been a long day without you, my friend. My first meal of the day is going to be some protein pancakes. I mixed 2 tablespoons of this flapjacked protein pancake mix, a whole scoop of Cellucor, which is a lot, so I'm hoping they cook up okay, a half a tablespoon of vanilla powdered peanut butter, and 5 tablespoons of egg whites. I thinned it out with a little bit more water, but the 5 tablespoons brings me up to 40 grams of protein in this. It has 10 grams of carbs, and then I'm having it with 3 ounces of blueberries, which is about another 10 grams of carbs. So that's like 20 grams of carbs for this meal. I'm gonna spray up this griddle with a little bit of this non-stick Smart Balance cooking spray. And hopefully they turn out okay. Okay, so most of the rest of this is going to be a voiceover because my house is noisy as shit. These turned out alright. They were a little bit dry because of all the whey, but still had 40 grams of protein, 20 grams of carbs, only 2.5 grams of fat, so that's 269 calories for breakfast. Not so bad. After that, I had a Power Crunch bar, the peanut butter flavor. I think they have a lot of fat in them. It's like 12 grams of fat, 13 grams of protein, and 10 grams of carbs. In that, I also put a quarter cup of cashew milk in my coffee, unsweetened cashew milk. This is such an ugly meal, but for this meal I did not track the asparagus in it, so I just tracked it as 5 ounces of chicken breast. It looks like so much less, but that's 5 ounces raw. I baked it and put some mustard on it. That's only 150 calories. I also, after that, had a low-fat yogurt, and I put 2 teaspoons of cashew butter in it. Sorry, I'm reading this off my macro tracker. That's 21 grams of protein, 11 grams of carbs, and 8 grams of fat. And it tasted pretty good. I think I did put a little bit of a Splenda in it as well. After that, I had worked out again. I think I did some low intensity, steady state cardio at that point, and I had 5 more ounces of chicken breast and 3 ounces of sweet potato. That's 16 grams of carbs, 34 grams of protein, and 2 grams of fat for 224.9 calories, according to this exactly. At this point, I had about 0 carbs left. I had actually totally 0 carbs left. So I had half a cup of egg whites and 2 whole eggs for dinner. I used cooking spray in the pan, and I don't track any macros for that. So that's 25 grams of protein, 0 grams of carbs, 10 grams of fat for the eggs that I use, Eggland's Best, and 193 calories. Nice, small, I guess small in terms of the amount of calories, but it was relatively filling. As filling as meals can be when you're eating at that much of a deficit. And for my next meal, I had more egg whites. I had another half cup of egg whites, but this time I had it with chorizo as my source of fat because I don't actually usually eat chorizo. My boyfriend really likes chorizo. We had some in the house, and I was just like kind of bored. I didn't want to have the exact same thing again, and I didn't have any other fatty sources of meat. Normally I would use like ground beef, but since I was mostly getting leaner sources of meat, because I was getting closer to the show, I didn't have any at the house, so I just used some of the chorizo, and it tasted really good, and I enjoyed it. Has 21 grams of protein and 7 grams of fat in this, no carbs. So I just found this bread at the grocery store. I don't really pay much attention to like net carbs because I think that's, it's fiber. They say subtract the fiber, but that's such bullshit. It's just a marketing technique. But it does actually only have 8 grams of carbs, including the fiber. So that is pretty awesome, and only 60 calories per slice. I haven't really been doing too much bread lately. It's mostly for my boyfriend, but I think I can have a couple slices today, at least 1 or 2. So I'm a little bit excited about that. Some whole eggs, mostly for the egg whites for me. Omega-3 peanut butter, Coke Zero, not gonna lie. Yeah, didn't really get much. This is my breakfast slash post-workout meal. Usually I do go with a lower fat meal. However, I need to go out and do some errands. I also had to run by 2 stores on the way home. Didn't get a chance to eat right away. It's been about an hour since my workout, or maybe more like an hour and a half. And it's going to take me a few more hours before I can get my next meal. So I wanted to add a little fat in the form of the guacamoles. And the bread also has a little bit of fat in it. So the total has about 9 grams of fat. I'm hoping that'll keep me fuller for a little bit longer. Usually my post-workout meals are very small, but they're heavy in the carbs and the protein, very low in fat, so they're low in calorie, and then I eat again relatively soon afterwards, and I'll eat like a real meal after that about an hour later. Today I'm not really going to get a chance to do that, so I wanted something that would satiate me for longer. So I put half of a container of one of these little holy guacamoles. This is 1 ounce of deli ham. This is 1 tablespoon of peanut butter, and I put that on this carb style, as it is called, only 8 grams of carbs per slice, and then 3 egg whites. Yeah, so it's just a little bit under 30 grams of protein, about 25 grams of carbs. I get 60 for the whole day, and about 9 grams of fat. So, yes, breakfast, post-workout meal. Very excited. Hey, so I'm back, and this is what I'm having for my second meal of the day. One of these sweet Italian chicken sausages. They have 7 grams of fat, 2 carbs, and 14 grams of protein. I put that in here, which I'm going to start sauteing first, with a little bit of tomato and yellow bell pepper, but I did not track the macros in that because I barely used any. This is only 1 sausage. This is a really small pan, and I'm going to use a cup of the egg whites with that, which is an additional 26 grams of protein. So that makes this meal have about 40 grams of protein in it, and only 2 grams of carbs if you're not counting the veggies, which I'm not, and 7 grams of fat. These sausages will probably let out a little bit of fat and grease up the pan for me. I just keep this, if it's not enough to keep the eggs from sticking, I'll use a spritz of this, but I'm probably not going to use this today because I think these sausages have enough fat.
Did feel betrayed. Started saying terrible things about them.
You're welcome at Gilman, and the sense of betrayal became brutally evident one night when Billy Joe snuck into the club after hours with a friend.
Next up was another open-faced sandwich. This time I just had one, but I put a little bit more on it. I used 1 slice of the bread, a half a cup of the guacamole, an ounce of ham, and an ounce of the chicken breast. That had Boar's Head oven gold chicken breast, and they're low sodium ham in case you're wondering. And it was 16 grams of protein, 13 grams of carbs, 6 grams of fat, and that's 178 calories. After this, I worked on some meal prep. This wasn't actually the next thing I ate. I had some of these later on tonight, but I made some chicken meatballs. I had to check and see if that was chicken or turkey. I couldn't remember. I use them pretty interchangeably because the macros are really similar, but this was ground chicken breast. I made them into little 2-ounce meatballs each. So I like to do things like that. 2 ounces is a good size. They cook kind of quick, and then you can easily just I usually grab 2 or 3, depending on how much protein I need in that meal. While that was cooking, I had a 1/4 cup of oatmeal with half a tablespoon of peanut butter. I put some cinnamon in there too, so I love cinnamon. 3 egg whites, and I used a half a cup of cashew milk when I cooked the oats. So that's 15 grams of protein, 16 grams of carbs, and 6 grams of fat. After that, I did have my little chicken meatballs. As you can see, I had 6 ounces of those. That's 3 meatballs, and I put French's and sugar-free ketchup on it. I don't really track the macros in my condiments, even though I probably go over just a bit on the serving sizes, but it's really not that much of a difference, honestly. Okay, for my last meal, all I had left once again was a lot of protein and some fat. So what I did was have a scoop of the Cellucor whey protein with 2 whole eggs, and unfortunately I didn't film it because just at the end I had a little bit of protein left, so I grabbed one more of the chicken meatballs and had one of those. So that brings the total for this meal to 50 grams of protein, 4 grams of carbs, and 12 grams of fat. That's 328 calories. And that was the last meal that I had before I went to sleep. So, yeah, that was my day, my whole day of food. In the end, I had 190 grams of protein, 60 grams of carbs, and 43 grams of fat, which is just a hair under 1,400 calories. In retrospect, I'm uploading these a couple days late. In retrospect, that might have been a little bit too low for someone my height. It starts to get, I was really hungry, and I don't know that it was entirely necessary, but you live and you learn, and things happen. So that's what I did, and I still want to share with you honestly how everything went. So I'm gonna just keep uploading everything and show you how it went, even though I have certain feelings about it, and then I'll share with you how I feel about everything in the end in a separate video. So please comment and subscribe and stick around so you can find out more about how everything went with my prep. Thanks a lot.